Hello, and welcome to the first installment of Collin's Corner. This is a new series I'm starting, in which I sit down with some of the people who have helped bring Transformers to life over the last 40 years, whether it be voice actors, musicians, writers, or toy designers. I have more interviews planned throughout the rest of 2026, so be sure to be on the lookout for those. Recently, I had the opportunity to conduct a one-on-one interview with the immensely talented David Kaye. Having been in the voiceover industry for nearly 40 years, David has cemented himself as an all-time great and has amassed a devoted fan base throughout the years. I last spoke with David all the way back in 2016 during that year's BotCon convention in Louisville, Kentucky. I find it fitting to have him as the first guest on my show. Some of David's most memorable roles include Clank from the Ratchet and Clank franchise, Arishem in Marvel's The Eternals, and as the announcer for HBO's Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. In the realm of Transformers, he is finally remembered as the voice of the evil Predacon leader Megatron in Beast Wars Transformers. He also took on the role of Optimus Prime in the beloved series Transformers Animated. With all that being said, here's David. All right, thank you very much for joining me today, David. It's an honor. You are one of the most prolific Transformers actors and just voice actors in general.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's a lot of pressure already.
Uh,
There's a lot of really good ones out there.
Just a few, you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So 30 years since Beast Wars, your introduction to the brand.
Yeah.
You've been in 8 shows. Was there a point when you thought to yourself, like, oh, I'm the Transformers guy now?
I do. That's a really good question. I look at it this way. I look at it, wow, they've kept me around, for such a long time. I'm grateful for all of it. It was, I remember it was at Louisville. There was a BotCon, and it was it was a big convention. It was the induction into the Transformers Hall of Fame that they had done, and that was pretty cool. Venus Turzo and I were there. I haven't seen Venus for quite a while since I, came down to California. And it was nice to get together with her. I guess that was certainly pre-COVID. That was 2016.
That was 2016. That was actually the first con I went to. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were there for that one. So I had a great time. And that was when I went, wow, this is, I still sort of think it's all pretty surreal, but, pretty grateful for the franchise and being able to, to play in it. I always tell people, an actor should know better that, and most of us do, that when we're given a part, we don't own it, and we're grateful to inhabit that character for a little bit, and it's been pretty cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were actually, that was my first convention I ever went to, and you were the very first actor I met. So,
oh, really?
And now I go to like 6 or 7 a year. So,
so it's all my fault.
Yeah, you started this. So after all these years, CGI's kind of taken over the animation landscape. It seems like a lot of shows switched to that. Do you remember seeing Beast Wars for the first time? Because that was all relatively new.
Yeah, that technology, I mean, it took them I think all night to render a small little scene, and it was sort of like, oh, wow, this is the future, or, well, this is going to be wild. And I remember Sue Blue, what do you think, guys? What do you think? This is, I remember we're all quite like, wow. I'm still a fan of the classic animation. And I've become more of a fan of anime in that, especially like the Studio Ghibli, the artistic, like the incredible painted scenes and the flowing animation of that type of anime, because it's really an art. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all art, but you really realize, oh, wow, this is quite something, There's a show I just wrapped on, it's kind of semi been announced, but I cannot say anything about it yet because my part has not been, so I won't say anything. Mm-hmm. But after the final, the season closure, I went upstairs and the head of creative and the team gave me a couple of original, hand drawn, like scenes like that they draw the boards, the storyboards, right?
Okay.
Somewhere little Collin went, oh my God, I have it. This is me. So I was able to get those framed. So I'm even more appreciating the hand drawn stuff now because I know I don't ever want to lose that. But at the time, we were just blown away by the technology and what it was able to do. Now you look at it as you're like, oh, that's kind of old, but at the time it was pretty cool. Sure.
Absolutely. In addition to the CGI being groundbreaking, the cast, I mean, everyone on that show was just so talented. And you guys have talked over the years about some of the shenanigans that have taken place on the booth. In
Oh,
your
it's all
opinion,
about the shenanigans.
in your opinion, who was the biggest troublemaker amongst you guys?
Oh, not many people would know this, but I think Ian Corlett was the troublemaker. He was
Was he?
always stirring things up. Hey, Gary, pull my finger. Yeah. Or Gary would tell him. And it was the whole room. Who else was funny? I know that Jim Burns, who's played Inferno, he came in, and it was always, some crazy ass joke, some crazy, off color first thing in the morning. You're like, oh, that's how we're going to start the day, huh? And he was a riot. And right off the bat, we're all wound up because of something, a joke that Jimmy would call. I think everybody took their turns. But Scotty was always, a lot of fun screwing around. And Colin Murdoch, when he came in, he just made me laugh. We were always goofing around. So I think we all took turns, really. And we did actually try and throw pencils in the ceiling. And I think the ceiling was probably asbestos. So I'm hoping, I think that whole building was full of it. But it's no longer there. But it was a legendary soundstage, and we had our way with it for sure.
That's awesome. The chemistry definitely showed in your guys' work for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, man. I got to say, that was the best.
And that's something. I know nowadays it seems like there's more, especially during COVID, there was a lot of just recording by yourself. And I think a lot of...
Yeah. We all went home. Like I've been doing this stuff for years. I had my own studio because I was doing, trailers and promo and radio and television affiliate work for a long time ago. So I already had a studio set up, and I was already doing stuff at home, like in the early 90s. I kind of was an early adopter. So when COVID hit, people like Roger Craig Smith and I, and people that sort of have that niche and all these little other things we do, we're already good to go. And people like, Gray Delisle and Tom Kenny and the top people in the business just couldn't find the button to turn on their computer. So it was a quick learning curve for most, I think, at that time. But yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to come in here and do this and be in your space. But I actually ask to go in now. And you're getting more and more, especially games, PCAP and game. They do want you in. Things will come in and say needs to be available in LA for this period of time or whatever. The recent series I just wrapped on, there was no other actors there, which kind of sucked. But I did go into Cartoon Network and I did work in the Warner Bros. And it just felt so great to drive on the lot and see Billy the engineer and the team, the writers and stuff, and just collaborate and be in the booth there. That was there's nothing like it, really, and so yeah, I don't know if we're going, but I mean, some SpongeBob is back. Their ensemble records. I hope there's more of it. I know people have kind of scattered, and we're quite used to being in our own studios, but there is something about being together in a room. It's really quite fun.
Oh, absolutely. I talked to Dan Gilvezan a couple years back, and when he first got the role of Bumblebee in the original show, he said he went out to the store and bought a bunch of bumblebees. At any point, did you go and try and find like a Megatron or any character? Nope, never.
No, I stupidly assumed, well, I'm Megatron. They're going to give me toys, a plethora of toys. I'll have it. No, they don't give you anything.
No.
Maybe back in the day. But no, I just assumed we're going to have. I had to buy my own toys, and so all these toys I mean, they're all here,
Mhm.
they're all here. And it is all about the toys. I think Ben Yee, I saw Ben in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, gave me this Japanese version of Megatron, which is weighs like 1,000 pounds.
Hmm.
But it's really cool.
Oh yeah.
That one, yes, it's like a Japanese sort of thing. I don't know. They do things so cool over there. So they're all over. They get the little one here. It is all about. I still got all kinds of this stuff, but I either people gave it to me. Fans have been nice enough, and I go, "What? No, it's yours." He said, "No, this is for you." I go, "Really?" Or I just acquire them somehow. I actually had to buy when this pop dropped. I actually had to. My wife goes, "Hey, you should pick up a couple." And I go, "Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know." And so we actually bought a couple, and I had my own. I had to buy my own, and that's just the way it is. But he was smart. Dan and I broed down together in Little Rock this past weekend. He's such a great guy, man. His
Wow.
stories are so fun. Super. Yeah.
So after Beast Wars, it transitioned into Beast Machines, which is a rather contentious show in the fandom. I personally really like it. I like the direction they
Yeah.
went in.
Yeah. I didn't think too much about it. I don't pay attention to a lot of things. I prefer to live in oblivion most of the time, and it's to be oblivious is quite comfortable here and there, and that goes with some of the shows. I show up on the day, and I have fun and do my thing, and I pretty much forget about it until many years later when you hear fans sort of discuss, and I might go back and watch a couple of things. I haven't really seen an entire episode all the way through, interestingly enough, of anything I've done. Maybe the current Battle Masters of the Universe that we did on Netflix, because I really liked what they did, because that was when we all went, middle of that, we went home during COVID. I was just kind of looking through it, and I wanted, because I really liked the character I play. Right, he was so comfortable. Yeah, it's a funny thing that I don't know if I even answered your question.
Oh, that's pretty good. Was the vibe pretty similar in the recording booths between both shows?
Yeah, I remember like the when Megatron became the Overlord, and the whole I'm a fan of the Dark Batman, so I don't mind when things go a little darker and introspective, but I really loved Larry Bob Ford and Larry DiTillo brought to the series in the writing. It was very Shakespearean and fun, and there was humor, and things were. It's like the old Spider-Man, There's this bit of humor and snide remarks and things, and I always thought that was really fun to do. And kind of the old Stan Lee way of doing things, and it's just a natural progression of shows. I mean, it's hard to say, if you and I ran the world, how if it would be different, but that's just the way it is. You do the best you can with the script, and I love it all, man. I enjoyed everything. I dug it. But I understand that the fandom. You fall in love with something, you're like, whoa, what did you change it for? Why is the voice of Barney Rubble different? What? It's just that stuff happens. But I did like it all, and I understand that whole that contemptuous thing with some of the other seasons for sure.
All right. Well, after Beast Machines, you went into the Unicron trilogy, so Armada, Energon, and Cybertron. Did you audition for those, or
No, they assumed. I mean, they might have they did for other parts, but those of us in the main roles, like Gary and I, and I can't remember who else, but continued on doing. The difference is, it's anime; it's already drawn, so we were covering lip flaps. I used to love the big speeches with no lip flaps. You couldn't see my mouth moving, so it was easy. But once there was a big speech and you've got to follow the lip flaps, it gets a little complicated. And the technology then is was a little clunkier than it is now. It's so simple to do. I can do it from home, and I've done that in some studios. When you're doing dubbing, they just move it left or right, and they move it in, they slot it in, they slow it down. It's so cool and so fast. But you were limited as far as performance. I mean, you do the best you can. You try and bring to the role But there was no time for yes, excellent. Commander Rat Trap, but a pleasant, no pontificating and stretching out anything or eating the scenery, or chewing the scenery. You had lip flaps to get in there and move on. That was the difference.
All right. So after the Unicron trilogy, you jumped into Transformers Animated, the role of Optimus Prime and Lugnut and Grimlock. Lugnut's a personal favorite of mine. I love him.
Oh, he's mine too. I am so stupid but smart same time. I mean, he's just lovable and an idiot, and
The best kind of character.
Yes, yeah.
You've also, over the years, played both Captain America and Superman, which are also very iconic characters.
In the games and in some of the yeah.
Is there a lot of pressure when you're going into a pre-established character? Or
no, I love it. I crave it. I crave those characters because, as you said, I grew up with them, and you just want to do the best job you can and bring that. It's a little more difficult in that some people, I mean, are born to play those roles, and can never be replaced. Period. When I came in for the Optimus character, it's backtracking a bit. He's basically me. Transform and roll out. Okay, who's with me? Just trying to save the world. Just trying to do my thing here. Trying to do the right thing. And it took me a few episodes to get comfortable with it. And I was having trouble. And Sue just says, "Just be you, honey. Just be, just." And Optimus taught me to take off the mask and stop trying to do something and just be yourself, and that's who I am. And I think the magic is finding a character that it's just who you are, and you kind of drop into it. Same with Superman. George Newbern has done such a great job over the years. He's just super. There's other ones that have done it. I'm the asshole Superman in Teen Titans Go, and that's kind of fun because I get to kind of, take off the cape. You have no idea how to be a hero. You kids annoy me. I get to kind of play. I played Bizarro Superman in a couple of those DC shorts, a few years ago, and that was kind of fun. But you just try and honor the character by honoring and being yourself, and trying to find that it's kind of a weird thing. You try and find the humanity in everything you do, and those characters, as you know, being a fan of the genre and pop culture, they're flawed, especially Batman. They're flawed characters, and so even good characters are flawed as much as the bad ones are. They believe just a different sort of route to get to what they want. But yeah, that's the game of it. So it is a bit of pressure to honor the character, but at the same time, like, yeah, bring it. Who's, give me let me try. Let me see. Yeah.
And then going off that a little bit, since you did play Grimlock and Optimus Prime and multiple characters in the show, when you would kind of act off yourself, like there was an episode that was just Optimus Prime and Grimlock going on a little buddy adventure. Yeah. Is it almost like you're putting on a show for everyone else in the booth? Or?
Yeah, once everyone sits down, you stand up and you try not to screw it up. Yeah, most of the time, I think I did Professor X and oh my gosh, I forget the big
Apocalypse.
Thank you. And so I did the whole. You do the scene yourself with well, I think it's not a good idea. And then they get a take or two, and then they'll go in and get the individual lines just to make sure. There are some people extremely good at it. It was always fun to watch Scott McNeil. I haven't seen Scott for over 30 years or so, but I was always fun to watch him do the scenes with himself and Waspinator and then Dinobot and the Beast Wars stuff. It's quite compartmentalizing and switching your brain for a second, but it's also, as a performer, you look forward to those moments to see if you can pull it off. Sometimes I can pull it off, and sometimes I'm just not that talented, and I need to just go in and let me do my lines separately. But everyone sits down, leaves you alone. All the spotlight's on you.
No
Yeah.
pressure.
Nope.
So after animated, it went into Transformers Prime, and that was the first series where you didn't start off with the cast. You were brought in about halfway through the show, as
On which one? On the
Transformers Prime.
TF Prime. Yes, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were Hard Shell, the
Yeah.
Insecticon.
Yeah.
Did you expect to stick around a little longer than that, or
Well,
was it kind?
I kind of had a feeling going in that this is going to be like a one-off. And so, but I love the character. The reason I would have loved to have stuck around is because I just the Insecticon just using my hands, giving him jowls and he looked and Kevin Michael Richardson beat me up. When you're asked to come back on a different series, of course you want to stick around, but you're a guest star role and a lot of times you're time to go. So, yeah.
All right, so I'll lean more into the fandom aspect now. Do you remember what your first convention was?
Yeah, Rochester.
Rochester.
BotCon, Rochester, New York, 1997 maybe, or 5 or 6, somewhere in that area. And that was, I think, I'm not sure if BotCon had been going. It was a big deal. It was in Rochester, New York, and that was when I realized that, oh, so this is like a big deal, because I didn't really watch the Transformers before I auditioned for the show, which is a good thing because it didn't color any of the ideas I came up with, sort of newer stuff, and I think that that's what they wanted. But I wasn't familiar with G1 at the time, and I watched a lot of Bugs Bunny and Tex Avery and Roadrunner, Coyote, all that sort of stuff. And so I wasn't really aware. I did watch some G.I. Joe. I was a fan of G.I. Joe. And you had some of the dolls, the Mego dolls, and I was big into comics back then. I knew that. So yeah, it didn't affect how I did the voice. But that weekend in Rochester, when there was a packed room, that Venus and I can't remember who else was there from the cast. The entire room was full, and way at the back of the room, somebody says, "Can you say excellent?" And I said, "Yes, excellent." The whole room went crazy, and I went, "Oh, well, that's kind of cool. Wow, I know what Guns N' Roses feel like." I mean, I didn't really know this was a thing, so that was my first exposure. It was eye-opening.
Oh yeah. So you've met hundreds of people over the years. Have there been any interactions that have stuck out to you?
Oh yeah, sure. There's a few. Some of them are quite sad in nature, but the fact that there's one this weekend where somebody said, I just want to thank you for helping my my shitty childhood be better, and then you're like, oh, I mean, things like that. Sort of land a little bit. You realize that we just think we're doing a goofy cartoon or doing and it's a lot of people. It means a lot to some folks. Just like certain shows and characters in my childhood, and mean a lot to me. I get it. But yeah, the friendships that have developed over the years, you see this sort of the same people. Just recently in Little Rock, this past weekend. You realize you're kind of growing old together, which is okay, man. It's the journey, and when you see people again, and there's a camaraderie, and everyone sort of has a through line of being a collector or the toys or Transformers itself, and it's pretty neat. Always meeting new fans and meeting new people. Yeah, it makes it special. I always tell the fandom and the fans that come to the panels we do or stuff, or at the tables, and we see them. I said, this doesn't exist without you. So thank you. And it's important for us to thank the fandom, because that's what keeps it going. And I keep thinking it's just going to kind of die out a little bit or quiet down, but it seems to be it's busier than ever. Pop culture, people like to. There's a great line in a play, movie, "Noise is Off," where the director says, I come here to be taken out of myself and preferably not be put back in. It's a way to go away, and if we can bring a little bit of joy in this crazy planet, then that's we're doing our job.
Well said. During conventions, you obviously, are alongside a lot of your peers. Have you met any actors at a convention and been like, oh man, I really want to work with you at some point?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, I was at Fan Expo. Was it Denver or Boston? And I was like, oh my God, that's Sam Raimi. And do you want to meet? Well, no, I don't want to be. No, no. And anyway, I just went over and said, hey, Mr. Owens, and I had my coffee. And he said, oh, sit down. And so Sam was asking me to sit down. I go, I said, well, God, thanks. We started talking about life and talking about, we both we like wine and we were just yakking about that. And I never sort of say, oh, I'd love to work with you, Mr. Raimi. Wow. I can't, but him and another one I met recently, we were over in Europe and we landed in London and we had our 2 bags. We're just waiting for one more. And a lot of people it was a slow roll on the one section coming up the plane or something. And I noticed Guillermo del Toro leaving LAX. And I said, man, it's great. Anyway, we land and I look over and there's Guillermo on his phone, sort of just, sitting there and waiting. And his assistant or whoever is waiting for his bag. And I said, I gotta go over because I don't like to bother people. But I said, no, you know what? Forget it. And so I did get my bag and I went over. I said, Mr. Del Toro, I said, my name's David Kaye. And I just, I want to say how much, your Pan's Labyrinth meant to me. Saw it at the ArcLight Cinema by myself. I got 1 ticket and it was packed. And I said, this movie sort of changed, my movie life. And he, laughed. I said, I work with Chloe Zhao on The Eternals. And, and he goes, he said, oh, I played Arishem, the beast. He said, oh, that was you? And he knows who I am. So I was like that. And I didn't take my camera out. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to, and he met my wife and listened. It was so great to see you. And it was just a wonderful sort of moment. But Guillermo del Toro. And the reason I would like to work with someone like that is because when I mentioned about Pan's Labyrinth and what I do, and he lit up like a child. Here's this older man sitting there, and he you see the kid right away, and you go, that there, the magic, the wonder. And the very first cartoon I ever did was Mickey Rooney was alive, and they said to the cast, he was in the cast, and he said, I got some advice for you. Don't ever grow up. Don't ever grow up. And I never forgot that. And you see that in his eyes where, yeah, we all get older and stuff, but don't ever lose the wonder and the magic and the sense of wonder of it all. And Guillermo has that, and you want to work with that. Dave Filoni is another one. I don't know that, I did a couple of episodes on, the Star Wars as General Tandon, but I didn't want to leave, and I love Star Wars since I saw it. I don't know how many times. I'll watch anything. I don't care what critics say. I could give a rat's ass what anybody think. I'll watch all of it. I love it. I love that whole world, and I'm aching to, to be a part of that somehow in some little way. Some of the the George Lucas stuff, and I just think it's brilliant. And that's just for selfish reasons because I'm a huge fan, like anything else. But those 3, Dave Filoni, Guillermo del Toro, and Sam Raimi. I mean, that'd be pretty fun. Yeah.
All excellent picks.
Yeah.
All right, so final question for you. I talked about how it's been 30 years, so 1996.
Please don't remind me.
if there was anything from the 90s you could bring back now, what would it be?
My youth. Oh man, got in some trouble in the '90s. We had some fun times. '90s were good. The '90s, there's a lot swimming around in here. That they we had some good times. Um, uh, I would love to bring back the Beast Wars cast and do a session with everybody, and do a movie of a movie with us all, like they did G1. I
Hmm.
just think that would be amazing. I think you get a good writer and a good team of people, and you can make something fun there. There's a lot of things we all of us look back and at a certain decade and go, yeah, right. Um, but time moves on, so maybe we can help start a Beast Wars movie.
Let's do
So,
it.
yeah, man. Yeah, Colin.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, David. It was a pleasure.
Oh, of course. Pleasure's
Um,
mine, man. Thanks for reaching out. It was fun.
all right, not a problem at
Yeah.
all. I'm sure I'll bump into you at a convention one of these days.
Yeah, don't forget. I don't know when this will air, but it's the Washington State Summer Con this weekend, and I'm in Anaheim for Fan Expo special edition end of the month. They were going to Montreal Comic Con July 3-4 weekend. They went to Toronto or TF Con Toronto the following weekend, July 11-12, and then Virginia Beach mid August, and then don't forget. Transformers fans, TF Con Orlando in October, and the first time I've done that one, so that should be fun.
All right. Well, thank you very much again, David.
You got it, man.
All right. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Thank you. And that's a wrap. I want to thank David again for partaking in this interview. I appreciate the time you took out of your day to sit down and talk Transformers with me. If you want more David Kaye content, consider following him on one of his many social media outlets. Links will be in the description below. If you'd like your very own personalized message from one of his many characters, be sure to check him out on Cameo. And thank you all again for watching. I'll see you next time here on Collin's Corner.